Tonight, a man who attacked an Ontario mosque learns his fate. Motivated by hate, striking during prayer, but worshippers fought back.
Someone we love might have been killed.
The lasting impact on the mosque and Muslim community. The big shift coming to cabinet.
I've always known this job was temporary.
Who's out, who's on the move, and where it leaves the Liberal government. Animal rescue groups overwhelmed, some shelters at capacity.
We just don't have the resources.
Why more and more people are giving up their pets.
This is The National with Juanita Taylor.
Adrian is away. We begin tonight with a sentence in a disturbing attack on an Ontario mosque. A man motivated by hate intended to kill as many as possible. But as you're about to see, no one was seriously hurt because of quick, courageous action by worshippers. Ethel Musa begins with video of the attack released today by the mosque's imam.
Worshippers were deep in prayer when Mohammed Moise Omar walked into their Mississauga mosque last year and attacked. It began with bear spray, and soon he was swinging a hatchet.
I don't think anyone ever wakes up to go to the mosque to pray and assume that they're possibly going to not come back home.
Members of the congregation sprang into action, subduing Omar before anyone was seriously hurt.
Had he tried to swing his hatchet before discharging the bear spray, and someone we love might have been killed.
Omar pleaded guilty to 3 charges, including assault with a weapon. On Tuesday, a judge handed down a sentence of 8 years in a Brampton courtroom. After credit for time already served, Omar will spend just over 5 years in prison.
This young man spent so much of his time online, drinking in hateful speech until he allowed it to warp his life.
According to court documents, the 24-year-old was motivated by a hatred of Muslims, and plans of an attack had been in the works for a year. During their search of Omar's home, police found video footage of the fatal mosque shootings in Christchurch, New Zealand. In his vehicle, a large knife, a cleaver, and rope, among other weapons. Authorities also found evidence he tried to obtain a firearm, and Omar told investigators he considered building a bomb and using his car to run over Muslims.
Canada is actually a leading G7 nation when it comes to Islamophobia-related fatalities. And so I think we're past the point of acknowledgement and we need to step into action.
In 2017, a gunman killed 6 men at a mosque in Quebec City during Sunday prayers. And a 21-year-old man accused of running down a Muslim family in London, Ontario with his truck 2 years ago will face trial in September. Ethel Musa, CBC News, Toronto.
In Ottawa tonight, the Liberal government is set to announce a substantial shakeup. 7 ministers are on their way out of the Prime Minister's cabinet in what could be the last big shuffle before the next federal election. Catherine Cullen now on the moves being made and why they matter.
See all those smiling faces back in January? Well, sources say come Wednesday, more than half will have new jobs or simply be turfed.
Just before you all start clamoring for answers to questions.
Public Safety's Marco Mendicino criticized for a failed attempt to change gun laws and for Paul Bernardo's prison transfer. Sources say he's not just demoted, but gone from cabinet altogether. Justice Minister David Lametti, one of the higher profile jobs, he's also out. Treasury Board President Mona Forche, who oversaw a major strike by public sector workers. Sources say she too is out, though she won't say.
We'll see what the Prime Minister announces tomorrow.
You have to line up.
Transport Minister Omar El Gabra has been in the hot seat in the last year over airport turmoil. He says he decided not to run again in the next election.
I've always known this job was temporary, and the question for me was, do I leave on my own terms or do I wait till it's forced upon me? And I decided that perhaps now is the time.
Also leaving cabinet and saying they won't run again in the next election, Procurement Minister Helena Jazik, Fisheries Minister Joyce Murray, and Mental Health Minister Carolyn Bennett. The other side of the equation in a stream of black vehicles heading into meetings with the Prime Minister, presumably to learn their new political fates. Sources tell CBC News one big change will be Anita Anand moving from defense to an economic portfolio. Publicly, though, most ministers remain tight-lipped until the Prime Minister unveils his new cabinet.
Whatever or wherever he wants me, I will be.
Even if not everyone is as eager for some of the challenges that come along with change.
If I had the Prime Minister's phone number, I'd give him a dingle and tell him, leave Marcy where she's at, because we're doing really good work here.
So, Catherine, what should we be watching for when the shuffle actually takes place tomorrow?
Well, it's not all change, Juanita. Some big players, like the finance and foreign affairs ministers, are expected to stay put. But we're still talking about a remarkable number of new ministers getting up to speed. The question is, to what end? There is a tacit acknowledgement in such a big change that there is a lot that hasn't been working for the Liberals. Take housing. They've been hammered by the opposition. Sources say tomorrow we'll hear about restructuring to make it easier to deliver on housing. And it is the delivering part that will determine whether all this change is worth it.
All right. Thank you, Catherine.
You're welcome.
CBC News will have extensive coverage of the cabinet shuffle tomorrow morning, live on CBC News Network and CBC Gem, beginning at 9:00 a.m. Eastern. And we'll have analysis here on The National with a special edition of At Issue with Rosemary Barton. Nova Scotia RCMP say they found the bodies of 2 missing children swept away by raging floodwaters.
Searchers recovered the body of a child in the primary search area in Brooklyn. I can also now confirm that the remains located yesterday in Kings County were also those of a child.
The 2 children were part of a group trying to flee the floods when their pickup truck was washed off the road and into a field that filled with water. 3 other people inside escaped. A nearby SUV carrying 2 people was also submerged. The body of a 52-year-old man was retrieved yesterday. Police are still searching for a missing youth under 18. In BC, a fast-growing wildfire in the southeast is threatening the community of Invermere and 1,000 homes near it. It exploded in size after it was first spotted, burning 3 square kilometers in less than 24 hours. The province is now dealing with about 450 active wildfires. And in Greece, a stifling heat wave is only intensifying the wildfire crisis. Thousands of tourists have already fled. And as new fires break out in the island of Rhodes, officials warn the worst could be ahead. Peter Armstrong looks at the growing cost of the disaster.
Through intense heat and winds, firefighters across Greece are battling back the flames. This water bomber, a Canadair CL-215, crashed into a hillside, killing 2 Greek pilots. The devastation here is astounding, shocking locals who are facing the destruction of both their homes and their businesses, all during what should be the peak of the tourist season.
Our houses maybe not be there tomorrow, maybe now we are on fire, we don't know what to do.
As many as 20,000 tourists have been forced to flee their hotels. Some walked, others were rescued by boats on beaches.
Hell on earth. Never thought I'd be caught up in something like that.
The Greek Prime Minister pointed to climate change. He says we know things will probably get worse, not better, with warmer temperatures, more droughts and stronger winds. Not exactly encouraging news for business owners.
At the moment, it's a little bit of a disaster. All the beaches are empty. There's no one here at the moment. I think people will come back. It depends on the tourists.
Tourism makes up as much as 25% of the Greek economy, and experts say the cost of climate-related disasters is climbing fast.
Because we've been so slow in tackling the underlying causes of climate change, we're now stuck with the costs of dealing with the impacts.
Governments will have to pay to put out the fires, then pay to rebuild after all the destruction. As tourists flee, they take their money with them.
At exactly the time when they need even more money to invest in making their economy more resilient to these impacts in the future, because the impacts are going to get worse.
And he says the urgency now abundantly clear. If governments don't act now, they'll spend more later as climate-related disasters get worse. Peter Armstrong, CBC News, London.
And with much of the Northern Hemisphere still dealing with record heat waves, climate change experts warn that scenes like those in Greece could become far more common. Sasha Petrosic shows us what millions are facing.
In Sicily, a woman drives a gauntlet of fire as southern Europe burns. Algeria, too, where wildfires have killed almost 36 people. In Switzerland, winds top 200 kilometers an hour. Northern India floods. Cuba swelters. The heat is exhausting, she says. My whole house feels like it's on fire. Indeed, much of the Northern Hemisphere feels that way, with many parts of the U.S. breaking records daily. In Phoenix, temperatures have topped 43 degrees every day this month.
At what point does Phoenix actually become uninhabitable?
A question that becomes much more relevant in more places, says a group of European researchers. They say human-induced climate change, mostly increased carbon dioxide emissions, has made heat waves hotter by 2.5 degrees in Europe, 2 degrees in North America, and 1 degree in China, and much more frequent.
In the past, these events would have been extremely rare, so it would have been a huge chance, or basically impossible, that they would happen at the same time. But now they are not rare, and so you expect to see them all the time.
The new normal, they say, until that normal gets even hotter. Sasha Petrosic, CBC News, Toronto.
India's decision to ban exports of certain types of rice is fueling panic buying here in Canada. Nisha Patel now on what led to the ban and how it could affect food prices.
See, so that's $2 more, $16.99 and $18.99.
Bags of rice are flying off the shelves.
Because of the ban, now I'm not going to be able to get my hands on it, I guess. Yeah, so I guess I'll stock up a bit.
Suraj Mohammed eats rice every day. When he heard India will no longer export certain types of it, he rushed to the store.
It's a staple for me. I don't feel full without rice in my belly, so yeah.
As stocks dwindle, many international grocers are rationing purchases.
They were lining up a lot. They were trying to bring more family members and each one trying to pick 2 or 3 at a time.
In India, uneven monsoon rains have damaged crops. There are fears an El Nino year could make it worse. So the country wants to shore up its supply of non-basmati rice.
It's an urgency for them that they have such a large population and depend on, feeding their own people first.
This is one type of rice India will no longer export. It's called Sona Masuri. The export ban doesn't apply to basmati rice, which is the variety India is best known for. But panicked customers are even buying extra basmati rice, concerned the ban could expand. It all has this restaurant owner worried.
I don't know what's going to happen going forward because our 90% of our business is with rice.
Rice prices in India are up nearly 12% over the past year. This economist says while the ban will lower costs for people there, it will drive prices higher for international markets.
These are foods that are half or more the calories for a lot of people living in poverty. So it hits vulnerable people pretty hard.
About 20% of Canada's rice imports come from India, and just a sliver falls under the ban. Still, the prospect of higher prices is unwelcome news for shoppers.
So it was used to be around $28 earlier, now it's coming to around $40. So we are definitely feeling the pinch now.
After months of food inflation, yet another staple that will cost more. Nisha Patel, CBC News, Toronto.
A Belgian court has convicted 6 men of murder for their part in a series of bombings in Brussels in 2016. 2 other men were convicted of terrorism charges. Their trial was the largest ever in the country. Around 1,000 victims registered to attend. 32 people were killed in the attacks. In Iqaluit, a long-awaited deep-sea port has opened, and it's already speeding up the flow of goods.
For us, it's been very positive. We've been using the sea lift ramp. We docked the vessel this morning.
The $85 million port reduces the time it takes to unload a ship from days to just hours. That's because the work can be done at any time of day instead of only at high tide. Officials hope the reduced shipping costs will be passed on in the form of lower consumer prices. Health Canada says a Calgary medical clinic that is planning to start charging patients membership fees would be breaching the Canada Health Act. The Marda Loop Medical Clinic is offering memberships at $2,200 per year for adults. It comes in part with promises of shorter wait times and longer appointments. In a statement, Health Canada says that runs contrary to the Canada Health Act. The clinic's owner disagrees.
Well, it doesn't really contravene the Canada Health Act because there's a lot of other stuff that a membership clinic gets besides healthcare that they're interested in. I am just helping those people that need the extra time get the extra time.
She says that other clinics around Alberta have similar models. In a joint statement, Alberta's Premier and Health Minister say the province will investigate the clinic to ensure it's complying with the Act. American voters may have a new bipartisan option in next year's presidential election. A political group called No Labels is gaining traction, especially with moderate voters. But as Katie Simpson shows, there are concerns No Labels could swing the election.
Modern political parties amplify anger.
The ads are meant to appeal to the millions of centrist voters underwhelmed by their options, letting them know the political advocacy group No Labels hears and sees them.
2/3 of people don't want a rematch of the 2020 election.
If it looks as though Joe Biden and Donald Trump will be the presidential nominees once again, No Labels says it will try to run a ticket with both a Democrat and a Republican, but only, they say, if there's a realistic path to the White House.
We're already on the record we will never fuel a spoiler candidacy.
Centrist Democratic Senator Joe Manchin is working with the group, along with the former governor of Maryland, a moderate Republican.
It may be time for folks to have the courage to put the country first, and rather than just continue the status quo politics as usual that we're all fed up with.
No Labels is frustrating the Biden team since it poses the greater threat to Democrats.
The voters that are loyal to Donald Trump are very loyal to Donald Trump.
And there are reports Trump's allies are donating to the group.
The billionaire Republicans funding No Labels.
Well, No Labels leaders have denied this. They haven't made donor records public, arguing that voters will just have to trust them.
We've been around for 13 years. They can see the leaders around us. They're going to have to see us through our work.
With the stakes so high and a rematch expected to be so close, an alternate candidate could have a massive impact.
The election can come down to a handful of very competitive states, places like Arizona or Wisconsin or Michigan. And even if we're only talking about like 5,000 or 10,000 votes, that could end up making the difference in that state and potentially in the whole presidential race.
No Labels will make its candidate decision in the spring, leaving plenty of time for speculation and fundraising. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Washington.
Animal rescue groups are sounding the alarm over a growing problem. More and more owners giving up their pets and few shelters to house them. Travis Danraj explains why.
Cute and cuddly, but now homeless. 2 kittens abandoned amid an affordability crisis. The pair being shuffled to Toronto's Humane Society, the organization that rescued them, overwhelmed.
We get emails every day or every other day asking us to surrender cats, asking if they can surrender cats to us. We just don't have the resources.
Inside, cages upon cages of animals waiting for a home.
It's dogs, cats, rabbits, guinea pigs. Right now we even have some snakes.
Pet surrenders are way up, adoptions down. Shelters saying in many cases people who adopted pets during the pandemic are now overwhelmed. Add that to rising inflation and job insecurity.
Talk about her breed.
While this shelter isn't at capacity, smaller ones across the country are, raising fears of the worst.
No one goes into this industry, whether it's within sheltering or veterinary care, to euthanize animals. That's not what we want to be in. Same with pet owners. That's probably the worst days of their lives.
Calgary-based Parachute for Pets helps families avoid that.
Pet food bank, education, vet care assistance, anything that can break down the barrier that's going to cause a pet guardian to have to surrender or euthanize their pet.
There's also a push toward more foster parents as a bridge to being reunited with their owners.
It's real rough. Cost of living keeps going up.
Joe Medeiros is finding it tough to provide basic vet care. Loki has an ear infection.
With COVID, work was limited for everybody, and then cost of living just tripled or more in places, right?
Even if you can't foster or adopt, pet organizations say you can still help. There's a desperate need right now for donations, pet supplies like food and toys, or cash to support your local shelter. Travis Danraj, CBC News, Toronto.
Police in Alberta are on the hunt for a thief after the disappearance of dozens of cattle.
A hit like this is quite devastating.
Why farmers say it happens more often than you think, next. Plus, a painful journey into the past at an Ontario sanatorium.
I didn't expect to be in tears when I get here after this morning, and I feel a lot better.
The powerful emotions they still feel after so many years. And later, 11 hours in the open water.
Hearing the cheers on the beach gave me the fuel and the fire I needed.
A blind man's amazing feat for a cause close to his heart. We're back in 2. Well, those who follow the footsteps of Ethel Bruneau, or in them, are mourning the loss of a great teacher and artist. Born in Harlem, Bruneau was known as the tap queen of Montreal. She became an icon in the 1950s, dancing in clubs across the city. Her family is remembering her as someone with an incredible spirit and passion. Ethel Bruneau was 87. Well, rising beef prices may be contributing to a growing problem for Alberta ranchers: cattle theft. Few cases are solved and jail time is rare. Terry Reith shows us how Canada's lack of national standards makes it easier for stolen livestock to be sold across the country.
What went wrong?
John Meston is trying to solve a mystery. What happened to his 85 cows, calves, and bulls that vanished from 3 separate fields last fall?
There's a cattle thief, or plural, in that area that know the area.
Cattle rustling is an old crime that's picking up again. Meston's been hit twice now, a neighbor as well. Alberta records about 50 cattle thefts per year, but on this scale, maybe 2 or 3.
We encourage people that if they are missing, definitely give a report to us.
Alberta, BC, and Saskatchewan have brand inspection systems that make it difficult to sell any stolen cattle at auction markets. But Manitoba and Ontario have no such system, meaning thieves can transport stolen cattle east and sell them there. And only about 45% of Alberta's 5 million cattle are branded, which makes it difficult for the RCMP's livestock unit, which is in charge of hunting down the rustlers. In the case of the Mestons' missing cattle, so far, no solid leads, just one conclusion.
In order to be able to gather and sort and round up those animals, you have to have the ability, the means, and the skills to be able to do that. And also you have to have the means to transport them.
Mestons' missing cattle were desirable breeds, Black Angus and Simmental beef cattle. Total value, about $175,000.
A hit like this is quite devastating.
They were branded with ear tags and RFID. Still, gone without a trace. He doubts he will recoup his losses, but wants the RCMP and industry to do more to crack down on cattle rustling. Terry Reith, CBC News, near Westlock, Alberta.
A group of Inuit elders made a historic visit this week to the southern city they were forced to go to as children.
I always feel when I was growing up, there's some piece inside me missing.
From Nunavut to Hamilton, Ontario, their journey towards healing. Plus, 2 rising stars, one in the pool and one on the ice.
Thinking about your big goals and what small things you have to do to get to those big goals.
Behind the scenes with Canada's McIntosh sisters, training to take on the world. The National takes you deeper into the stories shaping our world. Next. Tonight, Inuit elders are grappling with a painful past as a way to move forward. From the 1940s to the 1960s, the federal government sent thousands of tuberculosis patients to southern Canada for treatment. They were isolated from their language and culture, and families were torn apart. Dustin Patar shows us how some of those Inuit, uprooted as children, returned to the sanatorium in Hamilton, where they felt so abandoned.
It's been a long, emotional journey. A group of Inuit traveled thousands of miles from Nunavut to visit what's left of a place that brings up a painful past.
And this is what you look at over there. So this was the sanatorium building.
The visit is about healing, but also educating, learning about this site's dark history.
The Mountain Sanatorium in Hamilton, Ontario, the largest TB hospital in the Commonwealth.
1,200 Inuit were sent here in the 1950s and 60s. Survivors describe being strapped to beds for long periods of time. Families often weren't told where their loved ones had been sent, and many never came home. It was part of a Canada-wide colonial policy. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau apologized for the policy in 2019. Now Lo Shawituk made the journey with his grandson.
I was here when I was 10 years old. That was 65 years ago. I didn't expect to be in tears when I get here. After this morning, and I feel a lot better. Feel released.
Ina Kulawalak of Pugna to Nunavut was 2 years old when she was sent to the sanatorium.
When we got here, it was, I could feel something heavy inside of me, and I cried. I was really crying, even though I don't remember anything.
It was over 2 years before she was back with her family.
I couldn't speak my mother tongue. I didn't speak in Inuktitut. My mother used to tell me that I had a hard time understanding me. I always feel when I was growing up, there's some piece inside me missing, but I couldn't find it. And I hope I find it here.
At a nearby cemetery, work is being done to uncover those who never returned. It's unknown how many people died. Nanilavut means, let's find them in Inuktitut. It's also the name of a federally funded initiative that supports families seeking closure.
To do the healing and stuff like that, and which is good. And right now I feel like singing.
Laughter and grief, all steps on a path to healing. Dustin Patar, CBC News, Hamilton, Ontario.
And joining us now is Salome Aba from CBC Iqaluit. She has been covering the story in Hamilton. Hello, Salome. Kanwipi.
Kanuingituga wanita actually iligni upikosuktuga national ko kaktiu kay nakapinasago sa kayatin.
Matna, glad you're with us today. A tough story that we just watched, and you are there to help cover it. And we know that it is a big deal for these Inuit elders to travel this far south. And we saw a range of emotions in Dustin's piece. What is your sense of how this has affected the elders this week?
It's been a very emotional time for these elders. We're talking about from 60 to 70 years ago when these elders were very small children, some as young as 3 or 4 years old, and they are dealing with something that they've been thinking about for a very long time. So there was many emotions with the elders when I spoke to them. They cried, sometimes they laughed, sometimes, you know, sometimes they just can't speak about it because it's very difficult to talk about. So a lot of emotions were involved all around in these sessions.
And Salome, have these elders told you if they are feeling any sense of healing?
Yes, a lot actually felt a sense of healing, and grateful to be here and able to deal with something that they were so traumatized when they were children. And yes, they were quite feeling a bit of relief.
Mm-hmm. Now, what struck you the most regarding the events of the last couple of days?
There were many things that were quite startling at times. For example, one said that he was tied to the bed for months on end while he was a TB patient as a little child, and they were not allowed to get off the bed. So horrific stories, horrific events, but there were some happy moments too, where this man had a friend, a roommate that was actually from here, a child friend, became a friend and was able to go for the weekend trips with that family. So there were some different variations of thoughts and feelings.
Salome Matnachamak, thank you so much for joining us today. And for viewers in the north, Salome also did that interview in Inuktitut. Tuberculosis remains a threat to the health of the Inuit. In recent years, their risk of contracting it has been about 300 times higher than for non-Indigenous people born in Canada. The federal government and the Inuit Teperi Kanatami have committed to eliminating TB by 2030. Coming up, two sisters, each excelling in their own way, but both staying humble while they do.
We're just like a normal family at home. We don't really talk about what happens at the pool or at the rink.
Devin Haru pulls back the curtain on the young rising stars with their sights set on the Olympics.
Summer McIntosh is all gas and no brakes. That's the way she looks right now. Looks like she's back.
Canada's Summer McIntosh has qualified for the women's 200-meter freestyle final at the World Aquatics Championships. She did so by winning her semi-final race, falling just short of her own Canadian record. As McIntosh looks to add to her impressive resume, her sister Brooke is making a name for herself in the world of figure skating. Recently, Devin Haru got an exclusive look at the work both have been putting in to get to the top of their respective sports.
Two sisters, two completely different sports, both rising stars in the pool and on the ice. Summer in the warm Sarasota, Florida weather, diving in for another grueling day of training. Brooke carving up the ice in this Burlington rink, relentlessly going over her turns and twists. The McIntosh sisters are on an athletic pursuit of greatness that has them living apart.
If you asked me 2 years ago if I'd be living in Florida basically full time, I wouldn't believe you.
Despite hours in the pool each day, Summer still has time to show off her oasis.
This beats walking around in snow.
Yeah, we come down as much as we possibly can. Right after practice, we'll just sit on the beach and talk and eat. It's really nice.
But make no mistake, this is no vacation.
I think it's just remembering what you want to achieve and thinking about your big goals and what small things you have to do to get to those big goals and just enjoying it.
McIntosh has taken over. It's the kid, the champion from
She's
Canada.
been dubbed a once-in-a-generation athlete, a world champion last summer, and it seems every time she hits the pool, Summer is breaking records.
Summer McIntosh is the newest world record holder in the women's 400 freestyle.
Back in Canada, Brooke and her pairs partner Ben Mimar are exhaustively going over their routine.
It's hard to believe that we're at this spot. It almost doesn't feel real most of the time.
Brooke's figure skating resume is stacked for an 18-year-old, and she has the banners to prove it.
That was huge. Throw triple toe.
On the junior circuit, she set new standards and represented Canada at the Youth Olympics in 2020.
You really love this. What is it about coming to the rink every day that keeps you going, that makes you want to be here?
I just really like putting in the work and I like seeing the results. It's a really satisfying thing.
As always, if practice starts at 6, I'm giving the warm-up out at 5:55. All right, don't come walking in here at 6:02.
Welcome to the Shark Tank, home of the Sarasota club team and Summer's new training center.
Let's go on the 13:30, please.
She goes from breaststroke to backstroke freestyle to fly without pause. 6 times a week, 2 times each day.
Good, good.
This is the coach tasked with getting her to goal.
More legs, more legs. My gift down here is I can just treat her as a person. I don't have to get involved in all of the other stuff that is involved with being one of the best swimmers in Canada, one of the best athletes in Canada. You got to treat them as the whole person, and not just a swimmer. There you go, Summer.
Brent Arkey, an American who's been with this club since 2010, in awe of what Summer, who's just 16, is accomplishing.
Can she break world records? She's capable of doing anything she wants to do.
And he's not the only one.
She has that steely-eyed look. This is like sacrilegious to say, but like a Michael Jordan or somebody like that. I mean, that's, and I don't want to put pressure on her, but the champions have that. The champions have that.
We can get a salad going.
Also in her corner, Summer's mom, Jill McIntosh, who knows the life of a high-performance athlete.
There is Canada's 17-year-old Jill Horsted.
A former swimmer, she represented Canada at the 1984 Olympics. Now living with Summer in Florida.
Can you even wrap your head around what is unfolding for your daughter, considering the path you were on, Jill?
Yes, I mean, Summer's on a much steeper path than I ever was. Talk to Daddy, he's back too. I'm most proud of the people they are. They're kind, fun, wonderful, caring human beings, and that's the goal, is to create, you know, a great person.
It's a full-time job for Jill, making sure Summer is where she needs to be each day for training.
Go, just go.
But she's trying to help lighten the load, like most 16-year-olds working on getting her driver's license.
Don't worry, all Canadians will just be judging if you're a good driver or not.
A reminder of her youth despite her poise in the pool.
Stay low in those knees, okay?
How do you make sense of your family, and specifically you and Summer? I know you're both so humble, but this is pretty cool.
We're just like a normal family at home. We don't really talk about what happens at the pool or at the rink much when Summer and I are together. We're just there for each other because we're going through it at the same time, so we know how it is.
What does success look like for you, Brooke?
Long term, definitely have our eyes set on the Olympics in 2026.
We've created a very intense atmosphere, which Brooke thrives in. Good hustle. Come on.
Andrew Evans, who's known the McIntosh family for more than a decade.
And then you turn, and he stays backwards, and you like cut this way and then go.
He's been there through it all with Brooke and recalls the first time both sisters hit the ice.
It was Halloween. Brooke was dressed like a witch, and she's super cute, and I asked her to do a couple of things, and she's super coordinated. Everything is placed and perfect. And then Summer skates by, and Summer's got a helmet on, and she's pushing with only one foot, kind of like on a skateboard. And I looked at my coaching partner, and I pointed at Brooke, and I was like, mine.
Always there for support, a rare moment. Summer has returned from Florida, her first stop directly to the rink to catch Brooke's practice.
When's the last time you guys were all together?
A while. So it's nice to be united again.
After another intense training session, it's back home for some quality family time. It's evident how proud Greg McIntosh is of his daughters.
When your daughter is a world champion at 15 years old, your heart explodes when you see them standing there with the Canadian flag, singing the national anthem, where the whole arena stops to listen. It's an unbelievable feeling you can't explain. Brooke, equally, she's standing there on the podium with her partner. It's the level of pride that your heart wants to explode.
The time at home doesn't last long, though. It's back to practice, apart again, but together in their mission.
That mission Devin referenced will include high aspirations for Summer McIntosh at the 2024 Paris Olympics. But for now, back at the World Aquatics Championships, the 200-meter freestyle final is set to take place on Wednesday. The 16-year-old is also competing in 2 more individual events.
It's a testament to his strength of character as a person, as a man.
A blind man completes an epic swim with a very good boy as the inspiration. That's coming up in our moment. The next Summer Olympic Games are now only 1 year away, and Paris is already going all out on preparations. The host city today unveiling its torch. Sarah Levitt takes us through the excitement and anticipation.
The Eiffel Tower, France's most iconic monument, and its reflection in the Seine transformed into a recycled steel torch. With a year to go before the Olympics, the torch unveiled and taken out for a spin.
A big party of sport, but and also a big party of the importance of this city, the beauty of this city.
Paris, used to the spotlight, now in full preparation.
Spectacular games, but also the games with purpose, engaged. And that's why we want to reduce by half the carbon footprint.
With much of Europe dealing with unprecedented heat, the health of athletes is top of mind. There are no plans to use air conditioners in the athletes' village. Instead, a water cooling system is being set up under the village. Organizers say they learned lessons from Tokyo, where the heat and humidity caused dozens to fall ill. Contingency plans will be in place to change schedules if need be.
It's going to be big.
In is Canada's chef de mission, former track and field gold medalist Bruneau.
Everybody's working very hard behind the scene in order to make the athletes to reach the potential.
Most of those athletes are focused on qualifying for Paris, though some have a prior engagement. Canada's women's soccer players are putting their Olympic gold medal defense on temporary hold.
Obviously, yeah, it's in the foreseeable future, but I think right now we're at this tournament, we're at a World Cup, and that's our main focus.
Surin has some key advice for the athletes.
In 1 year, we have an appointment. Never forget the fun factor. Always say to yourself, you do it for you.
That as Paris preps for one of the biggest sporting events in the world. The countdown is on. Sarah Levitt, CBC News, Montreal.
Scott Reese has a condition which caused him to lose all functional sight. And 2 years ago, Caleb, the yellow lab you see there, changed his life. Well, he was such a good boy that Reese swam across the Strait of Georgia from mainland BC to Vancouver Island so that others can also have the guide dogs they need. The swim for a good cause is our moment.
Getting Caleb 2 years ago made a huge difference in my life because it restored a lot of my independent mobility that I had lost as my vision had failed me. So I wanted to try to give back with this fundraiser to the Canadian Guide Dogs for them.
Just really proud of him, and I'm really grateful to everyone that supported us.
Pretty excited for him. It was a big day, so a little emotional for the whole team, I think. Scott started this hoping to raise a little bit of money, and we just, as we crossed the finish line, he raised over $120,000 for the Canadian Guide Dogs.
The swim distance was a little longer than the 30 kilometers I was expecting.
See him complete this is pretty awesome for him.
I think he's given all of us a real gift, showing what can be done as a blind person. That just despite the fact that you have vision loss doesn't mean you can't set a goal.
Well, Scott's swim was just over 30 kilometers in a straight line, but with winds and waves, the distance would actually have been significantly more. Now, he wasn't expecting the level of support he received. His original goal was $10,000. His campaign now raised just over $134,000. Amazing. That's the National for July 25th. Have a good night.